Welcome students. In this class of basic Java concepts, before proceeding further, I would like to revise the content which we have done in the previous class. In the previous class, we talked about the classes and the objects, which are the basics of any Java program, which is there on your screen, the properties. That is, class is a data type, object is an instance of class, we have talked about, and it generates objects, and that is the reason it is also called as an object factory, and object gives life to the class, right? And there are many other properties which we have discussed in the previous classes. Now we have discussed certain basic OOPS concepts. Abstraction, now we all know what is abstraction is now. A data abstraction refers to an act of representing the essential feature without including the background details. Encapsulation, we have talked about. Encapsulation allows the programmer to group a data and the methods that operates on them together in one place, and that one place unit is called as the class, and this process is called as encapsulation. Now then, what is an abstraction and encapsulation correlated? That is, with an example I have shown you in the previous class. That is, if you take an example of our mobile phone, so the features which are available on our mobile phone through its screen, the interface through which we communicate or we give the instruction to our mobile, is called as an abstraction, and the inside circuit, which is the electronic circuit which is there in the mobile, is placed inside the body of our phone, is called as an encapsulation, right? Then we talked about the inheritance. We all know inheritance is the ability of one class of things to inherit the capabilities or the properties from another class. That is, as we also acquired the properties of our parents, our forefathers, in certain terms. We have not acquired all the properties, only some of the properties we have get transferred from them, inherited from them. So that is the same is here with the Java. As Java is near to real world, that is the most important thing with the Java. So all the the things which there exist in our natural life, they exist in Java also. The same is the case with the inheritance, right? So there is a base class and the subclass. As we can say, the base class means the superclass, as our forefathers or our parents, and the base class, we can say we are the base class. So we get certain properties inherited from our parents, right? We talked about the polymorphism. Polymorphism is the ability for a message or the data to be processed in more than one form. Suppose we have any data, so we derive certain result from the data as per our requirement, and from the same data we derive another kind of result for another requirement. So that is again an concept of polymorphism. Here again the represented through the example also. Now, anatomy of the Java program we have discussed in our earlier class. The anatomy means the structure of the Java program. Then the structure of the Java program, here what I want to highlight here, it is, whatever the Java program we write, we are going to write inside the class, and inside the class we can have some functions. There can be one function or there can be more than one function inside the class. Here in your screen it shows that there is a main function, and main is a special kind of function from where the execution of our program starts. Now here on the right hand side I have given some clarification, or say the details about the what is the word class means. Class is a reserved word here, and hi there is the identifier. What is an identifier? That again we'll discuss later on, but just to make you understand, identifier here, hi there, means a name I have given to the class. As you have your name, by which you are identified. Same way, every part of the Java program has to be given a some name by which it is identified, right? So here the class has given a name, hi there, and we have, say, the statement to print the message something, right? And Java, again, very important thing which I mentioned here is Java is a case sensitive, so you have to be very particular about while writing your program. That is, the way I have written the word of the Java program or the tokens of the Java program, they have to be written as it is. Now we'll continue with the Java anatomy of the Java program. Now every class, after the name of the class, that is, we put the braces, that is, we are going to write the code inside these braces, right? As here it is shown with this, you can see where my mouse pointer, I am rotating this, and means the class is delimited and isolated block of code. These are the braces in which, that is, the entire class exists, the where we can have an access of the class. Now all the programs usually have the several functions, and inside the functions we can have, say, the various blocks, and the blocks are started with an open brace, the curly brace here as shown in your screen, and every open brace should have a closed brace. Now another important thing here in this slide which I want to mention is every statement in a Java program must be terminated with a semicolon, as here it is shown, that is system.out.println or print, and we have terminated the statement with, when the statement get complete, with a semicolon, right? And the method may have an argument or may not have an argument. If the argument are there, it has to be there in the braces, as it is given as the hello world. Here is the argument for the println statement, so it is given in the braces, inside the braces. Now the arguments of the print is, as I have already explained, as being the string. So the string is to be enclosed in double quotes, delimited, or we can say delimited with the double quotes. And on the right hand side of the program, that is the program 6, the another thing which I have highlighted here is the now in the program 8, I have especially mentioned, say, there are two ways of giving the comment in a program. The first is a multi-line comment, which I have shown you with this highlighter. That is how we can give a comment which is of more than one line. That is, such a comment start with a slash, backslash and star, and then can be followed by number of lines of the comment, and then it is closed by slash, closed by star and a slash, right? So the in between these two we can put as many comment lines as we want. Okay, now another is the single line comment. That is, here I am showing you with the highlighter, that is again, that is with the help of 2 slash. So here the comment is over as soon as we go to the next line, right? And the purpose of the comment is for the documentation, so that we can refer those document later. There is nothing to do with the program. Okay, now we come to the next, that is the character sets. Now every language has its own character sets, and there are two types of character sets which are there: ASCII character sets and the Unicode character sets. The ASCII character set is a 7-bit, and the 1 bit is reserved, that is, in actual it is of 8-bit, and the 1 bit is reserved for the sign bit, and that makes it can address 256 characters only, because with the help of 2 raised to the power of 7 we can generate 256 different character codes, so it can support up to 256 characters only. Now where Java is based on Unicode character set, which is of 2 bytes, that is 16 bit, so it supports up to 65536 characters. So almost all the characters of all the languages are covered in this, so it is also termed as a universal programming language. Now the next is the keywords. Now, as while doing the anatomy of the Java program, we mentioned that is the word class. The word class is a keyword. Now the keywords are the words that convey a meaning, a special meaning to a language compiler. Whenever such words are used in a program, they convey a special meaning to the language compiler. The various examples are given here now: the abstract, the break, const, but the const is not the so far is there and included in the Java. Do, finally, float, extend. So these are the various keywords which are there in the Java. Now we talked about the data types. Now here from we'll start with the today's class. So Java, broadly, the data types. What are the data types? Data types are the means to specify the type of data and the associated functions that can be performed on the data. Now the data types. Now the data types. Now data types, they are broadly classified into 2 categories: primitive data type and the reference data type, as here I have shown with this. That is the primitive data type and the reference data type. Now the primitive data types are the data types which are provided by the language. Now the Java supports 8 primitive data types: boolean, byte, char, you can say the character, double, float, int, long and short. These are the 8 data types, primitive data types. Now while explaining the definition of the data types, I mentioned the associated functions. Now here the associated functions means the functions which we can operate on the data. Suppose if we have 2 strings, 2 names, can we calculate the arithmetic sum of these 2 names? We cannot. So that is, we cannot perform on the data. So by the data type itself, we come to know what all kind of operations we can perform on this. So the data types, as I repeat, what are the data types? Data types are the means to identify the type of data, and we come to know what all the types of associated operations we can perform on the data, right? Now we'll talk about a boolean type data type. It is either true or false, a character which can any single character enclosed in single quotes, and there are other numerical data types we'll discuss in the next part. Here on your screen I have provided you a chart of, say, the data types. They are classified into 2 categories: primitive data types and the reference data type. The reference data type, again, they can be numeric as well as non-numeric. The numeric data types can be of integer, floating point, character. These are the 3 categories. And under the category of integer data type, it can be of byte, short, int, long. Now under the category of floating point means which has a decimal number, a number which has a decimal part also, that is a fractional part also. They are of 2 types: float and double. We'll talk about this later on. The character, again CHR, represented by a CHR. Boolean, again of type boolean. Now the reference data type, I have here just giving you the various names, that is the classes, interfaces and arrays. We'll talk about all these in our next classes. So students, I hope today you have enjoyed this class, and we'll meet in the next class with more colorful, or say with all more elaborated ideas. And be safe, take care, meet in the next class. Thank you.